Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever handed over your website and you think, hey, this WordPress site, I've crafted it, made it look great, and I'm scared my client's gonna break it? Well, there's two things I always do to make sure when I'm handing over a website, I make sure my clients are gonna put in patterns or Openverse images. Let me jump in, we're gonna take you through how we do that. So when it comes to patterns, they're both great and bad. What do I mean? Well, when you look at those patterns, sometimes you start looking at all those designs and you go, oh my gosh, when my client gets a hold of this, I'm gonna end up with pink, green, blue, yellow, orange, blah, stuff that's not responsive anymore and gets messed up on mobile and everything's gonna go all over the place. Well, you can turn that off and control exactly what gets shown inside that patterns area. You don't have to have the default ones on. And the first thing we have to do is make sure that we use a child theme right from the start when we get developing. Let's jump on in. I'm gonna show you with local using the default WordPress setup how we make a child theme. Okay, so here I have my default setup for local, and I've got that website on default WP local. And when I go to appearance, I have just one theme, which is the 2023 theme. So we want to make a child theme for 2023. To do that, we're going to go into the default WP local area and click on the button that says Open Site Shell. This will open a terminal window. We can see that we have WP CLI and all the environment variables running as expected. We're then going to paste in the command that I've linked below from a gist, and this will run the scaffolding to create my child theme. We can look at this and it says WP for the CLI, scaffold, which is something to say write files. We want a child theme. We're going to call that YouTube video, and the parent theme for this is 2023. That name in the parent theme 2023 is the folder name for what I'm trying to extend. Push return, and that will now create my child theme. Let's go back to the appearance area now inside WordPress, and I click on refresh. That now shows me the new theme that we've just created, and we're going to click activate. This will activate that theme, and because it's a child theme, the site still works exactly the same way that it did before. Okay, so that was real simple, wasn't it? I've just ran a simple command, I've got my child theme, thumbs up, ready for the next step. Let's turn off the default patterns. So all these patterns here that you can see, yep, we're gonna turn those off. All right, so here's our gist. I've linked this below. So what we need to do is copy this whole thing, and then we're going to go over to our default WordPress website. I'm going to go to Tools, to the Theme File Editor, and then we need to go to our functions.php. Now, before I go and paste that in, let's just see what it looks like beforehand. So if we go to Edit the Sample Page, and I click on a plus here and Patterns, we've got all these patterns. Now, what we're going to see once we paste in this bit of code is a lot of those patterns are going to disappear, and we're only going to be left with patterns that have been loaded specifically to my theme. So here I say if the function exists of custom setup, which I've got this function down here, register that function. And this sets up some theme support and all that sort of stuff. And then we say add action after setup theme, run my custom setup. So I click update now. That's now said the file is edited successfully. Now let's go back to pages, all pages, we'll go edit again, click on plus, go to patterns, and now the only patterns that I have left are those that have been defined within my theme. Thumbs up, that's a big tick from me. Now the clients can't insert those patterns and make a mess of that wonderfully crafted site. Next up, we're gonna turn off Openverse. The last thing we want is spaceman pictures or pictures of someone's dog on a website that's about cars. All right, let's turn off that Openverse stuff so we can have better control over what media is loaded on these sites. Okay, so now we're going to disable the Openverse images. So where are those? Well, if we go to media and I go Openverse, you can see we've got all these images. This is what we want to disable. So to do that, we're going to go to the same spot, to the theme file editor, and to the functions.php file, and we need to add something just inside here where we go after the remove core block patterns, and that is going to be this filter that says add filter to the block editor settings. So I'm going to paste that in and make sure we get our spacing all correct. That looks better, and that last part there isn't needed either. Is it? Yes, it is. Like that. There we go. So that looks a lot tighter and cleaner. So here we've got the block editor settings that we're all just going to put it inside a single hook, and I'm just going to put a comment there as well to say remove Openverse. It's always a good habit to make sure that you stay on top of comments so that later on when you look at some code, you know what it's going to do. We click update and it says the file is updated successfully. Let's go back to pages, go to the edit the page, go to plus, and you can see now that the media item has been disabled because we've turned that off with Openverse being turned off. So now, of course, you may want to add your own patterns and your own different types of styles. There's a couple of ways to do that. I'm going to follow up on the next video on exactly how you can add those patterns and deal with adding the right design tools for your end customers. Well, I hope you liked that video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And if you've got more questions about how to manage colors, fonts, or other things with the block editor and WordPress CMS, why don't you leave a comment below, let me know, and I'll make a video about it. And I'll see you in the next one.